Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks. It's a Wednesday. It's another spoiler cast, and it's a new season of The Boys. I'm Joaquin today, I guess, and joined by Sasha. I got my hat on, so
That's
um,
right. I need some
how are
sort
you
of
doing?
physical signifier to show everybody that
You
I'm Sasha
do,
today. I don't know what it
yeah.
should be, but I'll find it. I'll find it. You've got hats covered, so I won't take that from you. But
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Eyewear.
Eyewear?
Eyewear.
Okay.
Mhm. Start your collection now.
That's right. That's right. I'm already thinking in my head, what can I do?
Well, we'll let everybody know here. It's The Boys spoiler cast. We'll get to that bit
Mhm,
later. So hopefully you're following along with us as we journey through Amazon's The Boys.
mhm.
Um, until then, we'll be non-spoilery with other fun news stories in the entertainment industry. But how are you doing this evening? And are you drinking anything cool?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Just went outside for a walk a little bit ago after it finally stopped raining, so that was nice.
Mhm.
Um, I am sadly not drinking anything cool tonight. I just got like my trusty water bottle here. Um, yeah, mostly because there weren't any new like fun drinking holidays to celebrate. The closest one we had on Monday, Labor Day, which was National Beer Lovers Day. And I felt like I really did that celebration right. So that was kind of cool foregoing a little bit.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I see you're
For
rocking a
Sunday's
soda.
episode, yeah, I had a beer too. Yeah, I know. Where's fitness trainer to roast me right now?
That's
Um,
right. What
yeah, it's
about
a
your
Dr. Pepper.
workouts, John? What about
Uh-huh.
your weight loss
Yeah.
goals?
What about them?
I do what I want.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought I've had a long day and I didn't need to
Mm,
have something to potentially make me more tired.
sure,
So
sure. Trying to get a
that
little
was why.
energy in there.
Yep. Yep. Okay, we got lots of news. It's a good day to be covering stuff.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
in kind of the entertainment gaming industry sort of thing.
Mhm.
Um, the big thing we've been waiting is the next, new console generations, and Microsoft's hand was forced in finally revealing price and date. So it's still kind of silly because they came out and said now that they were going to announce it next week. Well, maybe, who knows? But
Right.
it got leaked very thoroughly,
Mhm.
so now it's all official.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's a good line to save
and
face, but
yep,
yeah.
I mean, it maybe was, it maybe was, it
Right, yeah,
might have
I
had
mean,
a date in
maybe.
the calendar.
It sounds a little
Yeah,
convenient, but sure.
uh-huh, yep. Well, now that we know the details,
Mhm.
so Xbox Series S is official and coming in at $300,
Mhm.
299, and launching November 10th. And the Xbox Series S is also launching November 10th, but
Mhm.
for $499, $500.
Yes.
Pre-orders start this month on September 22nd.
Mhm.
What do you think of these prices and the breakdown?
I mean, honestly, they don't surprise me. They're not wildly out of the realm of, previous consoles. So, um, yeah, I mean, they seem normal to me. I feel like the Xbox Series S, not X, which I'm trying to be careful about, um, is the much better deal. I'm not really sure why I should be paying 4.99 based on like the quick breakdowns I've read between the differences of the two, and what you have access to between the two. I'm not really sure why I should be paying another $200 for the Xbox Series X. I mean, I know that, you obviously can only load physical games on the X, but other than that, I mean, The memory, the processing differences that I've seen, they seem very minimal. So I'm just not sure that maybe the price difference between the two justifies getting the X.
Mhm.
I do wish, even though I don't think the prices are wildly outrageous, I do wish the X was lower because I think it would be a smarter strategy to convince people to buy.
I'm pretty happy. I think I mean a lot of people's fears were uh, PS5 and Series X were going to be $600,
Sure.
and so coming in at five is a very normal rate.
Mhm.
When consoles have gone $600 in the past, it hasn't worked out so well for them.
Mhm.
And I have no doubt with these prices, they're losing money selling these boxes.
Mhm.
So but I think it's a really interesting strategy that
Mhm.
hasn't been done before, and it probably comes from Microsoft's, experience in the PC market. That
Mhm.
it's a really good idea because I think it's currently 33%. It's under 40% of America has a 4K television, and
Mhm.
so they're literally making this Series X for people that don't have a 4K television.
Mhm.
It's people that are running a 1080p TV yet, or they're hooked up to a monitor
Mhm.
that's 1080p or 2K, 1440p kind of thing. Um, that's perfect. Shave a
Mhm.
few $100s off and not worry so much about the 4K, but you
Mhm.
can still like stream content in 4K. It
Yeah.
still tries to up-res to 4K. Um, it's a cool idea because what we've got right now on the Xbox side of things is this generation has been three systems. You have the original Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and then the Xbox One X. And they the experiences on those three systems are shockingly different. Like if you were to play Apex Legends on the original Xbox,
Mhm.
it's garbage. I mean, the
Mhm.
games are too demanding for what that system can offer at this point
Mhm.
because they're all trying to push a lot of pixels to the screen. And with the Series X, I mean, Ashley and I have played side by side basically even The Witcher 2
Mhm.
on a regular Xbox One and an Xbox One X, and it's a big difference. So I think that they're really pushing these two systems and focusing on stable performance. Just
Sure.
one's higher resolution and one's lower resolution. I think it's a kind of a winning strategy. It should be an easier message for developers too. You know,
Mhm.
like make your games. We'll have 4K assets for this box, and we'll have not 4K assets for this box. I think it's a smart move. So, the other thing, of
Well,
course, it's go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say Microsoft needed a win, and if this is it, well done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they early in the news cycle, they dominated the next gen conversation and had all this
Mhm.
goodwill built up, and then you know, kind of lost it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that from what I've seen, response has been good to this.
Mhm.
And they're also pushing. I think the other big deal of this is they're pushing the financing options.
Yes.
So you can get into one of these systems for like $25 a month.
Mhm.
Nothing, and that comes with the system and Game Pass Ultimate, more games than you
Which
could
is
ever possibly
crazy.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's it's still like not saying better than PlayStation. I'm just saying it still is the best deal in gaming, and it's gonna like keep being the best deal in gaming, and they keep adding things to it. It's just
Mhm.
really value is what
Yeah.
they're bringing. So,
Yeah.
um, and the news today, even today, yet more was EA coming out surprising us, adding EA Play to Game Pass.
Mhm.
Um, so you're getting like another subscription service tacked in for your already one time or your Game Pass fee. So more good news.
Yeah.
It's just pile
Yeah.
it on.
It'll be interesting to see how Sony responds to this. because they obviously have been dominating the console and I think game release news cycle.
Hmm.
Um, just because, like we've talked about, I think too many times, like there were too many bumps in the road for Microsoft's gameplay reveal and Halo reveal, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, so they really badly needed this win, and now the onus is back on Sony to show like what they're going to come back with for the
Yep.
PS5.
Yep.
Pricing wise,
Well,
obviously we've already seen it.
right. Yep. I mean, the it's going to be a tough thing because they have two systems, but they're
Hmm.
basically the same, other than one having a disk drive and one not.
Right.
So they can't possibly match the 299 SKU. It's gonna. I'm guessing they'll do 500 and 450,
Hmm.
maybe 400,
Hmm.
maybe. So I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see. Like it seems like gamers kind of are okay flip-flopping back and forth from generation to generation,
Hmm.
depending on price. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it seems to make a difference. So, and also availability, literal availability may be a factor as well. Like who
Right.
can produce more, you know?
Yeah, so many places are having stock issues that having stock issues for these consoles wouldn't surprise me either.
Hmm. And I guess I kind of liken some of this stuff to a person can pick up Netflix and have more than you could ever watch. There's so many shows at this point. It's
Hmm.
tons of things. But maybe PlayStation would be more like HBO has been in the past. It's like, okay, so if you don't do HBO, you're going to be giving up Game of Thrones. You're
Right.
not gonna get to see Game of Thrones, this like
Right.
tentpole show that's everybody talks about stuff, but you'll have all kinds of other cool things to watch. So it's
Hmm.
like, you don't get it all if you don't have both.
Hmm.
And you get way less if you just did HBO,
Hmm.
but maybe you'd have like fewer real high quality things.
Right.
So I don't
Right.
know. But I don't know. PlayStation has PlayStation Now. I've said before, all they need to do is flip a switch, and their service can be Game Pass too. They got to
Hmm.
start giving some money to the developers. Say you get a kickback, you get a cut, all this stuff or whatever,
Hmm.
and they have Game Pass, their own version of Game Pass ready to go. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll happen in the future. It just won't be a little bit yet.
yeah, well, we'll see if their hand gets forced.
Hmm. Well, it almost feels like Microsoft is forcing their hand. Um,
Mhm.
with this, I feel like this console series, they're almost underbidding themselves to sell Xbox Series X. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like the Series S seems like such a good deal that I almost wonder if they're trying to move away from disc consoles by sort of proving
Oh
themselves
yeah.
like, hey, we're underselling in the disc console, let's just shift totally online, and then
Mhm.
it's on Sony to like follow suit.
It's been interesting because the despite Sony's dominance in the home console market,
Hmm.
Microsoft has been the one kind of dictating the industry a little
Hmm.
bit. They'd been pushing for crossplay
Hmm.
between systems and stuff, and Sony kind of had to cave and is slowly like making that work,
Right.
and so they're and now they put out the Xbox One S all digital edition the other year, and now they're doing another all digital edition. Sony will be too. So, we're clearly moving in that direction. And then the service um, with Game Pass, and then the paying off in installments.
Hmm.
Like, I just wonder if that will be another thing that Sony really does not want to do,
Hmm.
but they're going to have to respond to competition.
Right.
We know it's the future, but they'd rather do it 10 years from now, or the last possible time when they have to.
Right.
And it's like, it's just interesting that the loser in the category right now is making these these industry moves that they're having to respond to.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, they've got to do something to stay in it, and this is a good move. This is a smart move. Um,
yep.
I mean, it could also be read as a desperate move, but if you were clinging to a desperate strategy, this would be like your winning one to cling to. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
nobody thinks this is a bad idea. So
Yep. Yeah, that's of course. I mean, that's been Microsoft for the last 10 years or whatever now is it company wide largely is, well, we were on the top
hmm
and so we're not now. There's this thing called an iPhone that came around that we missed the train on. And so yeah, they're willing to like give up a lot, and really they've
hmm
changed their entire culture and kind of company to
hmm
respond to this because they're not on top. Apple doesn't
right,
have to change because they're on top.
right,
And now Microsoft is back up there with them, and they
right.
with this new company culture. So yeah, I mean, like you say, Sony's on top in the console market. They don't have to do any of this stuff,
hmm
necessarily. So,
Yeah,
but
good on Microsoft though for responding, and I think responding smartly from behind.
yep. A little more surprise Nintendo news.
That's right.
I am of two minds here. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity is coming out
Uh-huh.
November 20th.
Yep.
Um, I am very excited because I get to see the big battle that led to the origin or the beginnings of Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
I am less excited because this has never been my style of game. It's
hmm
a Dynasty Warriors, like one versus armies kind of thing.
Yep.
But maybe this is the game that changes my mind.
Very
So,
true. You never know.
yep. So, one more thing in Nintendo news. I mean, that's not too bad. We get, uh, I
They've
wouldn't
also
mind a
had a
couple
good
more
week.
surprises. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, controversial week,
Yeah,
but news nonetheless. Yeah.
that's right. Well, yeah, I would say any news where they're in the news cycle is good for Nintendo because they've been so
Yep.
quiet.
Yep. That's a bit. That's about it for gaming.
hmm
I could always blather on forever and ever about that stuff, but we got lots more. We got lots more.
That's right.
Movies and TV things. I think it was just today, or maybe it was yesterday. They announced new Best Picture requirements for the
Yes.
Oscars.
Yep, I saw that.
Um, I don't know if you got the chance to read through some of that or whatever. I
hmm
know we did our Oscar show and stuff like that, so
That's right.
thought it was relevant.
Yeah, I did. I did read through the requirements, which aren't set to take effect really for several years, and then
Yep.
it will be those films going forward. Like
Yep.
films right now, even though films are at a standstill, don't have to meet these requirements, which is fair because I mean, my God, how could you retroactively respond? Um,
Yep.
but they're not as restrictive as I thought they'd be.
Okay.
Reading through some of the requirements, it's very weird. It's almost like applying for a passport. You need like accreditation in, column A and column B, or,
Mm,
just column A, but then B and C plus two. So it's very funny. But yeah, so the requirements cover both like casting and crew, and they give you a lot of options to
Yep.
do. So I really don't think they're terribly restrictive, even if they have to be like laid down in rules. Um, I don't know how I feel about the requirement, but it's achievable.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
just
mean?
to me this is like uh furthering me along, just like let the Oscars die. Like we had a good run, it was like this big Hollywood moment for so many
hmm
years, but it's kind of like it's still, we've talked before about Hollywood and the old guard or whatever,
hmm
and this is just a part of the old guard yet. You know, when you see Scorsese sitting there or whatever, it's
Mhm.
um I think the Oscars are just bred out of this idea that we're a society here, a high society out
Mhm.
here in Hollywood, and we need this opportunity to like strut around and pat each other on the back and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And but maybe this is my naivete, but I thought they used to mean something, and I just
Mhm.
don't think they do anymore. Viewership keeps going down,
Yeah.
and the fact that you have any requirements to me for best picture other than being the best picture
Mhm.
is very odd to me.
Mhm.
And I just every year the Oscars get more and more meaningless to me. So I'm just
Yeah,
done with it.
I feel like I don't know. I'm also of two minds. I'm hopeful about this because I also have been feeling frustrated with the Oscars and it feeling now like sort of you have to be in this like inner circle, inner club kind of
Hmm.
thing and like we see the same people get
Yep.
nominated and sometimes it's because they're talented and sometimes I feel like it's because they're not. And
Sure.
I'm hoping that this is a chance to break out of that and like really force people, to consider new options, consider new, actors, new directors, new producers that they wouldn't have considered before because now they have to. Um I don't know that it'll turn out that way, of course, but I'm hopeful just because I do agree. I feel like I see the same people there year after year and it just doesn't always feel deserved. It doesn't
Hmm.
feel um like true anymore. Like I feel like old Oscars really felt like we're just going to go for it. Like we really I mean they obviously had less options, to watch to choose from, so it's a little bit
Sure.
easier when you're not trying to like see everything under the sun.
Yep.
Um but still, I feel like, older iterations of the Oscars were really um more about who did the best job and less about like, well, who was a name. Um
But But why do we give this group the credence to tell everybody what the best picture is to begin with? Why are they held to a high, like, honestly, a better judge is like the Criterion
who's
Collection, like the Hollywood Foreign Press,
sure.
the group that picks.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, it to me is just this. You know, maybe you can look up the members. I haven't
You
tried to
can.
look up the members. You know, it's just to me, it's like, shouldn't this be, I don't know of a good way to do it, because you think, well, maybe it should be people that are really renowned in the industry. They're,
Mhm.
you know, they've had a lot of films under their belt, and they have this council of filmmakers basically that are, you
Mhm.
know, kind of deciding this stuff. But then you're still beholden to, well, we like our friends that we always make movies with
Mhm.
and kind of thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I know it shouldn't be taken so seriously, but there's a lot of media and attention put on it. So it's kind
Mhm.
of, you know, made to be
Yeah.
a big thing. You know, and then you just do a popular vote. Well, then everybody's like, well, yeah, but a lot of
Then
people
that's the
don't.
People's Choice Awards.
I know, right. I know. And so I just don't know that I care what this group of old dudes think and why they need to tell me what the best movies are.
Sure.
And then they're going to come out here and try to win points with everybody by saying, no, we're going to try to broaden and diversify and whatever. And just, no, you guys just go away. Just
Mhm.
go away. Like, I want to see someone else come up, you know. Let's get you know, I don't
Well,
know,
they are
JJ
trying.
Abrams and stuff to
Yeah.
like
They are trying
do
to
a new
do that.
thing.
There's a lot of like younger members that they've finally like kind of opened the doors to be part of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association or like the Oscar selection committee or the Oscar review
Hmm.
committee. So they're doing that now. Again, I don't know if it's genuine, a PR reaction,
Right.
something. But again, I can only hope it will make it better. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I can't judge the motives behind it because I don't know them, the true
Right.
ones, but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that these are good things. I'm hoping that these are, you know, forced widening the doors, opening up the scope and opening up the considerations that are out there because yeah, if the Oscars keep trending the way they are, and going the way that they're going and using the same formulas, I mean, I'm already bored talking about it right
Yeah.
now.
Well, I'm with Bradley Cooper. I didn't put in notes, but did you see him this week or whatever?
No.
He comes out and slams Hollywood's utterly meaningless award season.
For
Let's see. Skimming.
okay.
Okay, let's see. That award season stuff is a real test.
I mean, like,
I think it's quite the thing to work through, and it's completely devoid of artistic creation.
yeah,
It's not why you sacrifice everything to create art and you spend so much time being a part of it. If you're, in quotes, lucky enough to be a part of it, it's ultimately a great thing because it really does make you face ego, vanity, and insecurity.
sure.
It's very interesting and utterly meaningless.
Okay. Those are a lot of like contradictory statements.
Kind of, right?
But I think the gist of it, I think I get. Like he's, saying like, this long campaign of an award season is really about like networking and celebrating yourself and talking about
Yeah.
like you, and like that is like it's shallow and meaningless. It does feel like there's maybe a better venue to talk about the art that you should be rightly proud of and excited about. That's why you would make it, one hopes. But the campaign season, the campaign of award season does seem like a very stilted and out of touch way to do that. It's really just about like putting yourself out there, being like, I should be the best, I should be the best. And then like either spending a season of getting your ego stroked and celebrated, or like getting, checked and humbled when you
Yeah.
lose,
Why can I never make it? Why do
Yeah.
I never, like you're always
Yeah.
seeking that approval
That
that,
validation.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I just, yeah, I mean, you get it. It's inevitable, I guess, but it centers around the Oscars. So you have,
Yeah.
people writing films to try to win an Oscar.
Mhm.
And it's same we have in comic books now or whatever, or in any books, they're writing to try to make a movie.
Yep.
Please someone read my thing so then it'll be made into a movie.
Millions of
So
dollars. Yeah. It's all about the
yes.
dollar signs. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
trophies and awards and the celebration. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I have a very complicated relationship with Hollywood and then the media as well, because I do feel like there are very important stories to tell, and how else sometimes do we tell them? It's through this kind of visual media, and you want to make it the best you can make it, and we should celebrate that effort. But how do you do it without getting like the also, the flip side, the kind of meaningless, like I'm just doing this for the award rather than like making meaning. So
Yeah.
yeah, delicate balance.
Well, in other way less, it's not going to win an award. I'd say that. Or most likely it's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Long Way Up. Back
Mhm.
when Netflix, I think you can still do it, and people do still do it. But I got these previous shows on Netflix DVDs. When
Oh,
you used to
okay, yeah.
have them send you DVDs.
Oh
So
man, that was a long time ago.
yeah, Long Way Round and Long Way Down, I think, were
Mhm.
I mean, other directions. Those were the other shows that Ewan McGregor and his buddy did. They're big into motorcycles, and
Mhm.
so they would take it upon themselves to try to ride their motorcycles, across a desert and a long ways. And so
Mhm.
they're doing another one now for Apple TV Plus. It's been a long time, but they're going from like the tip of South America,
Mhm.
all the way up into California and so the
Yes.
Golden Mountains and stuff. And it's going to be on Apple TV Plus. It's September 18th.
Mhm.
It starts. And I mean, I'm going to try it because I enjoyed the other two. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's,
it looks equal parts fun and serious.
yeah.
Just watching a little bit of the trailer, like Ewan McGregor gets a little deep there in the middle, and I was kind of like, "Whoa."
Oh, that
I
happens. Yeah. I remember
wasn't
in
ready
one of
for
the
some
other
of that.
ones, like someone hit a deer or something happened to a deer. A hunter shot one, or I don't remember what it was. And Ewan
Uh-huh.
McGregor was just breaking down. He was just like, "Oh my God, this deer!" Like he was sad.
Yeah.
And but I think that they, if it's like the other ones, anyways, they really get out there and they've been in situations before where they fear for their lives
Hmm.
and they're sleep deprived and all this stuff. So they're getting kind of wound up
Yeah.
and stressed out and whatever. And so you do have those kind of serious moments or heartfelt moments or whatever, you know.
Sure,
So,
sure.
and now they're going to try to do it on electric bikes, which will
Yeah,
be
I
a whole
saw
nother
that.
thing because they would always be stopping, trying to fix their bikes, you know.
Hmm.
They try to like, and they'd had to go someplace and try to get a couple parts and stuff. Not gonna be able to do that now.
Yeah.
So I hope Apple isn't just giving them extra batteries and electronic bike parts because that's
Hmm.
cheating. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
be
yeah, we'll
interesting.
have to see what kind of extra wrench that throws in things.
Yeah.
Because I know that I definitely watched in the trailer them run out of power, so and
Hmm.
start pushing. So we'll see what other, you know,
Yeah.
mechanical issues they have.
Well, and that's the thing too. They have the film crew with, so they
Right.
have the film crew has gotten them out of tough spots before, you know,
Hmm.
or like uh problems with passports or getting into countries and you know
Sure.
that handling emergencies and such. So yeah, either way it'd be tough. So
Hmm.
um this was a big day. I guess I didn't hear anyone talk about
Yeah,
Star Trek Day.
I didn't know
Yesterday
that.
was Star Trek Day.
Yeah. Happy Star Trek Day.
I know.
Were
That's
you
pretty
a
cool.
were you a Trekkie at all?
Growing up I really wasn't.
Okay.
So I can't proclaim to be a real Trekkie,
Hmm.
even though I've enjoyed plenty of Star Trek things.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I don't know how I got into it. I don't know if maybe my dad introduced me to it or what, or I just found it and liked it, but I
hmm.
definitely kept up on Star Trek Next Generation for sure
Okay,
when I was a kid. That was a can't miss show for me.
nice.
So
So,
I grew up with Picard.
okay,
So
yeah.
he's my captain.
So, did you ever, did you watch all of Picard now, the new series, or
Oh, the new one. No, I
yeah?
haven't. I've only watched half of
Okay,
it.
okay.
I know, shameful, but I'm gonna get there.
Well, it depends on who you
So many
ask.
things.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Well, that's why, like, when you know, a lot of the more recent, the Star Trek television stuff hasn't interested
Mm,
me. But I am always not one that I can really speak on it all that well because I'm
sure.
not coming from the perspective of being a big Star Trek fan, I guess. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I always like the originals, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
So, I know we talked about it some, but yeah, I like Kirk and Spock and Bones and.
Yeah. I mean, I don't not like them. It's just I wasn't
Mhm.
that of course was like an older generation that I didn't grow up with during my childhood. And I've gone back and watched original Star Trek and I like it a lot. But yeah,
Mhm.
next gen was what, you know, I grew up with.
Yep. So you have standout episodes, favorite
I
must see episodes.
do. I do. So I wrote down I had to look up the title though cuz I don't know that I really paid that much attention to titles when I was a kid.
Hmm.
So I couldn't have like recalled the title out of thin air. Um but there was an episode not quite halfway through. It was maybe in like season 2, I believe. It's called Measure of a Man, and I feel like you would like this episode as well because it has to do a lot with data and how one of the visiting scientists aboard the Enterprise wants to perform an experiment on data, but that would cause him to like shut down and like lose his possibly all of his functionality and his like memories.
Mm.
So he like goes and sits down and then and of course like the crew of the Enterprise is like dead set against this, but data is technically like somebody's property. So they have like a whole courtroom trial where they like debate Data's humanity and whether like this is an ethical thing that this, guy wants to
Mm,
do to perform on Data, and whether, whether or not Data is human enough to be considered human, that, you can't just like shut him down and, take away his memory and his will like this. So it's a
right.
very like philosophical, ethical, debate that they're having. And I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. And then of course it like now resonates with me more considering like the types of shows that we watch now, like Westworld,
Yeah.
like are machines human? How human, where's the line between human and machine and android? And yeah. So
Right.
that was always a good episode for me.
Yep.
Um and then I love they've got like a time travel wormhole episode where they meet another Enterprise from a different time period where they're in the midst of this battle and they haven't they're getting to them like before everything happens and before they like enter this portal where they escape this battle, and they've got a whole nother crew on there and they kind of like see different shadow versions of themselves. Whoopi Goldberg's in it, and I don't know why I like loved her in Next Generation Star Trek episodes, but I don't know, she had some fun roles. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I always liked that was one of the things I always liked about Star Trek is the different lessons or kind of
Hmm.
just the real predicaments that they'd be thrown in, kind of
Hmm.
moral quandaries and stuff. So
Yes.
definitely
Yeah, it was
that's
always, I
what's
mean,
made
it
them
was
sing.
right, right. It was always fun to like see different alien races that they were encountering and like, they'd have like battles and stuff sometimes and, but it was really more about interactions and
Yep.
relationships and, questions, boundaries, what are our duties and responsibilities rather than like, let's get into battle and shoot some stuff up.
Yep.
So, or
Hmm.
let's go to this planet and just like plant our flag and conquer. It was how
Hmm.
can we relate to people? So, yeah.
Yep. There's I'm blanking on the name of it now, but there's that Seth MacFarlane show that's
Oh, the
funnier.
Orville.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
to me is very Star Trek, and I like
Yes.
that a lot. That's a really
Yes.
good show. So,
Yeah.
and I like the new Star Trek movies too.
Hmm.
I think of them as Star Trek, but I understand they're more kind of like Star Wars, which is probably
Yeah.
why I like them. But I
They're
still
they're
really like
half and
them.
half. I mean,
Mm,
they're a little more explosion-y and,
yeah, I think
battle
they're true to the
heavy.
characters, though.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think that.
Well,
So,
they're true, I think, to the Enterprise characters. They're not necessarily true, I think, to mission objective
sure.
necessarily. They don't,
Okay. Yeah.
but I feel like movies are more like open and shut, so it's hard to kind of do what you can do in a TV show, which is go out and just be like, we're exploring, like what would happen?
Yeah.
Let's, tell a story about this. Whereas movies sort of like you have to wrap something up. Like you have to
Yep.
set up a problem, encounter the problem, fix the problem, go. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, I guess that works to transition to the next thing then is the Dune trailer
Yeah.
just came out today.
Mhm.
Um, Ashley and I were just talking about because firstly we thought it looked awesome. I'm very excited for this movie still
Mhm.
after the trailer. And it's but can this be done well in a movie or movie series? Or
Mhm.
again, should this be another HBO television series?
Mhm.
I mean, it's like 5 books. I'm sure they're not going to condense all 5 books into one movie. I'm sure the hope is that this does well and they can keep making more.
Right.
But did you see the trailer? What did you think of it?
No,
And
I didn't.
no,
I
oh no.
know. I know.
Right. I
I
should
don't
have put
know.
the link in there too.
No, it's okay. Like I just forgot it was Wednesday because it's a short
Yep.
week. So, of course, in my brain I was like it's Tuesday until like 2 hours ago and I was like, "Right, it's Wednesday."
Yeah. Well, it's cool. You'll like it.
Okay. I'm excited to watch it.
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
got the kid
you can
from The
you can
King in
talk about
there.
it. You can talk about it because I've
Yeah.
read some of Dune, so it's not like super
Mm.
spoilery for me at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just it's an all-star cast, which I mean, take it or leave it, but it's a cool mix of people. Cinematography wise, it looks appealing, or what I would think of as Dune. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just in the void that is Star Wars right now, which we'll get to in a moment.
Right.
There is it feels like this is a new time we had a period where a pretty long period, I think, where we had some fantasy stuff on TV and in movies that was really sort of, it was like zombies and fantasy things. And now it feels like we're shifting gears to cyberpunk and sci-fi.
Agreed.
And I love both these things, but right now I'm all for it because yeah, we don't get enough of it. That's really good. You know, every once in a while we get something, but often it's kind of lacking in imagination. It's like someone is afraid to go there, afraid to really either do something risky or do something far out, you know? Like the show I'm watching now, the Raised by Wolves by Ridley Scott. Years 2145, I think. A lot has changed. It's and I'm all for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, that show is definitely not afraid to go there. I did finish the first episode like I talked about, and yeah,
Nice.
bold choices and some big conflicts being set up there. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm excited by the first opening episode.
Yep. We watched the first two.
Okay.
So yeah, I as well am really interested where it's going to go. I don't know how long. I didn't look up how long of a series it is, but I love the look of it. I love the music is really good. There's some really creepy kind of vibes to it. Yeah, I like the cast so far. I don't normally like kids in things, but the kids have been good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pumped. We got Dune coming, Raised by Wolves out now.
Yep.
Then we have the Foundation coming for Apple TV Plus after a while.
Yep.
And yeah, good things.
Yeah, promising lineup.
Yep. Okay, so speaking of sci-fi things, so Mandalorian is the only thing that has me in the Star Wars world yet, given this situation. But some news came out.
What about gaming?
Oh yeah, yes. That's okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's true.
But the Star Wars
Yeah.
cinematic universe has left you cold. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Daisy Ridley has come out and talked how Rey's parentage had changed multiple times over the course of the Star Wars sequel trilogy's creation. At one point, there was even a Kenobi family connection. Are you surprised, Andrea? Is this shocking news
not
to
at
you?
all. Not at all. I feel like we sort of saw this visual frenetic, like working out of like who is Rey's parentage, like what is her lineage on screen. Like I could have read between the actual dialogue of the screen and been like, this is like a scramble of writers being like, what the fuck are we doing? Like we're putting words on screen and we don't know what we're doing. So no, I'm not shocked by this at all. Especially based on the hints in the film, one way or the other. I don't feel like they were all like purposeful. I don't feel like they were red herrings. I don't feel like they were there to throw me off. And at the end, I was left going, ooh, that was clever. I thought this thing. And now you revealed it's this thing. No, it was just a total pile that they just like pulled something out of and we're like, okay, we're going to go with this.
Yep.
So no,
Yep.
I mean, I think this is honestly along it's not the same thing, but it's along similar lines of John Boyega's interview recently where he, basically trashed Disney in much stronger terms, but said, he felt like he was being yanked around as well, like with his character storyline, like, oh, I'm super important to the franchise. Okay, next movie I'm not. Now I am, but now
Yeah.
I'm not again. Like,
Yep.
make up your minds, like figure it
Yep.
out. And so this is kind of, I feel like, Daisy Ridley's like milder answer to, yeah, they really didn't know what they were doing and all of this changed and suddenly we were filming and it was like, I don't even know. So,
How are you supposed to? What are you supposed to do with character development?
yeah,
Like
exactly.
understanding your role.
Right.
It's just I love how like this stuff is done. They're not coming back, so all these actors are just giving it to them now.
Great.
Because
Do it.
and
Because it was a shit
job
show.
wise, like heads should roll
Yeah.
at Disney and Lucas film because
Yeah.
it's just how do you take one of the world's, if not the world's biggest franchises and just like throw throw pasta at the wall.
Yeah.
Just
See what
see what
sticks.
sticks. I mean, it's just insane to me.
I
Like
agree.
these people with so much money and so much control over this entity, this property, and they just shooting from the hip.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just confounding to me. I don't understand. It's
Right.
how this responsibility like how did people so inept get this responsibility?
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I
So
agree. I totally agree. And I think, you know, there are times when, like a show or a movie will film multiple endings and have the actors go through it and they don't know which
hmm
one is the real one. But I think that's such a different thing here because obviously at that point, like as the directors, as the writers, which one is the real one, and you're just like doing different things because you don't even want the actors to know, and you
yeah.
want the surprise, you want the reveal, you want the, oh, that's clever. So yeah, so that's something completely different than this where yeah, actors can't do anything with this. I don't blame any of them for this mess. You know what I mean? They
No.
did the best they could with the crap that they were given, and you're contractually locked in, you're obligated to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, good for them for, they're out from under Disney's thumb now and they can just give us the truth.
Yep. Yep. Disney can just suck a dick. I mean, like they like I won't even get into the new controversy with Mulan now.
Oh, I know,
Uh,
I know.
yeah, I mean, they're just I mean, I don't know if I had mentioned on the show or not, but I was just saying how Nintendo, despite their like borderline predatory uh practices of like reselling you the same thing all the time, but you do it to yourself.
Right.
But they're like one of the few wholesome companies left, like legitimately wholesome companies.
Right.
Disney tries to sell that imagery, but they can't. They have too many things under their belt now. You
Yep.
know, they have, they have ESPN or whatever, like all the stuff that goes on there, whatever you have all kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um, and Nintendo, like you play a Nintendo game and there's not blood or obsessive, violence or something like that. There is not like hidden messages or an agenda laid out. It's a plumber hitting a block with his, just like it's
Right.
just fun. And it's really a company that I think parents can still trust and stuff. And Disney, they're just all over the board. Like mixed quality. They thank everyone that they have Kevin Feige, I guess. Kevin
Mhm.
Feige has been the saving grace to this
Mhm.
point, I guess, for Disney. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I again, my opinion shouldn't matter too much on it because historically I have not cared very much about Disney. But just now they own so many things, I
Yeah.
do by nature then care some about Disney. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's hard not to when they have so many, intellectual properties,
right.
they
hmm
have such a monopoly, you're going to care about something. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Disney is not really the same Disney, and I don't know that they can lean on what they used to be anymore. They're going to have to figure out how to operate. Like you said, they used to be this like, oh, it's Disney, it's wholesome, it's, like kids, cartoons and adorable kids movies and things like that. And they're so far beyond that now. I don't know that they can just like rely on that old goodwill for them to
Yep.
like make screw ups and be forgiven.
Yep. That's why I thought they should have just, with the streaming service before or whatever, just move things to Hulu or whatever, because
Yeah.
your childhood thing, that you're trying to sell now, it's gone. Like you can still have a children's section, all that matters. But Disney doesn't need to mean, I don't think it means the same thing it used to mean. So
Right.
give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up. Speaking of giving up, Denise Richards is
Yeah.
leaving Housewives.
I'm sad.
Yeah, me too. Now I haven't seen the last few episodes, so no
Okay.
spoilers. I'm behind. But
Okay. I am up to the reunion, so I'm caught up.
okay.
It's brutal. I won't lie to you.
I maybe only have one
crust-
more episode to the reunion. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean it does cut off early. The season does cut off early because of course COVID.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so it's not as long as a normal season, but yeah, I will tell you I'm not, without giving too much away, I think I'm not wholly on Denise's side on everything. Like I think she made some mistakes for sure, and she said some things and she should apologize. But I can tell you that I am about to poke Lisa Rinna's eyes out. I am so annoyed with her right now for like not letting Denise talk ever and just like jumping in and just like saying weird random things. Seriously, like somebody needs to quiet her down. Maybe Andy needs to put her on mute for just like a half second so I could actually listen to Denise Richards talk and explain things.
She has to pull out her bag of pills.
Yeah. Take one, chill out, woman.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. So I mixed feelings about like what actually went down on this season, but sad to see Denise go because I really like her.
Yep. Ash and I were just saying, can't Teddy go instead?
Yeah, please.
Kyle will be better than too.
I agree. Without her like weird little henchman, I would like Kyle better. Yeah. Yeah, I was watching some older episodes and I was like, man, I used to I still like Kyle mostly, but I used to really like Kyle. And now I'm just not feeling it right now.
Yep. Well, I know we have tons of Housewives fans listening to this every week.
Hanging
it's
on.
gonna get back to her.
Riveted.
Yep. It's gonna get back to, and she's gonna change. Kyle's gonna change. She's gonna be better. Yeah. Okay. That's the news. It's been a lot. There's been a lot of things going on this week. It's been busy.
Yeah, no kidding. The past couple weeks really have been, kind of a boon for news, I think. Big news cycles. So.
Yep. Well, we just wrapped up The Boys season 1 from Amazon. Finished talking about that on Sunday. And so we rolled right into season 2, which is just come out. And hope you're watching that, and we can get into and break down in all spoilery details episodes 1 and 2. So 3 episodes are out right now, but we're sticking with the 2 episodes a week while possible. So we got episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
How do you think the season kicked off?
I think it kicked off in great style. It continued, I think, with an opening that worked and brought elements of what I liked from openings of the previous season. We're just kind of thrust in the middle of some action with a kick-ass soundtrack, and like let's just like dive right in to kind of one of the central problems that last season brought up, which is super terrorists, and one of the 7 is just going in and going to take care of some business. So that was pretty great. And I thought it was pretty interesting that we took a character who potentially we thought, might have been a big deal this season and could have, been like the thing that ties some people
Yeah.
together and could have been a central plot line. And he's just blown out right away, like just done and gone. So Nakib, our first glimpse at a super terrorist last season, is already, dead in the first 5 minutes at Black Noir's hand. So great
Yeah.
opening.
And I saw we both like this came up obviously with this because we
Mhm.
haven't seen that much from Black Noir.
Yeah.
And
I like that he's getting more
it's
screen time. I like him. I can't figure him
yeah,
out. He's all over the map. He's an
right.
enigma, but I like him.
So like to your point, what is his
Mhm.
power? And
Yeah.
then like how powerful is this guy?
Yeah.
Because he, like you say, he didn't even consider that this guy could blow him up. Like,
Right.
nope, that's not,
He had plenty of time to
he
get out of
seems to
there, and
have,
he's just like, "Cool, do your thing."
yeah. And he's the only person on the seven that has Homelander's respect.
Yes.
When they had a meeting in last one, like he was like scolding everyone, except for you, Black Noir. You're doing great,
Right. Right.
And like, I just, it'd be really interesting to find out what happens with this character.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I like that you brought up the relationship with Homelander, because I feel like it's one of those situations, based on the very little we've seen of Black Noir so far, where Black Noir just wants to do his own thing. So he sort of just like lets Homelander be in charge, and like lets Homelander believe that like he's the boss of him, Black Noir.
Yeah.
When Black Noir's like, yeah, this really just sort of aligns with what I want to do already. So cool. And I also don't want to be a leader. So great. But
Yep.
like if he ever like actually tried to tell Black Noir what to do, I feel like there would be an issue there. Like Black Noir would be
Yeah.
like, no.
We're gonna see that at some point,
Yeah.
right? We're gonna
I
see
hope
that.
so. I hope so.
Because that's the kind of the vibe, or at least maybe that's me being, maybe we're just being hopeful,
Yeah,
you
maybe.
know.
Maybe.
But it works for this character for sure. He's like,
Hmm.
hey, I want to play piano. Move over. I'm playing piano,
Right. Yeah.
or what? But yeah,
Or I want to
I
pour my
forget what
tea
he's.
during this meeting of the seven and not actually listen to you. That's what I'm gonna do. Like
Yep, yep. So I don't know. That's I am intrigued. Um, let's see. I don't know why I put that's my shoulder. I wrote
Oh, the
that's my
deep.
shoulder.
The deep, when he's like in
Oh
his
yeah, in the picture they
sad,
cropped him out.
drunken, depressing rant at the bar. And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
my
he's definitely one
shoulder.
of those like sad old celebrities who used to be famous.
Hmm.
He's like, that's my shoulder. Yeah.
Yep.
I was
Go
in that
back
picture.
TMZ. I love
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
three use.
Yep. Just yeah, it was so like sad, sad, sad. He was
Hmm.
continuing his like shameful downward spiral. Oh my God. Um but yeah, so that was one of the sad moments for our possibly former member of the seven. I feel like he still thinks he's in
Yeah.
the seven, and like Vought is now sort of like actively recruiting members to replace him. So
Mm.
definitely not. Um, but yeah, it was contrasted nicely against like Homelander and Starlight's, sort of victorious, weirdly victorious showing for Translucent's funeral. It was a very weird
Yeah.
funeral. That was not a funeral. It was definitely like a
Yeah.
Homelander rally speech, like yay the
Hmm.
seven. Oh right, we just happen to be remembering this guy. He's also here but not here, because that's definitely an
Yep.
empty coffin.
That
um
that maybe that's what you were remarking about this, but that was a little, like you say, forced, or the delivery was weird.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
wondering if that was because it's a new season. They know some people are going to be watching this for the first time, just
sure.
now, seeing the recap and then this. And so it's really to cue to the audience
Mhm.
that he's insincere and full of
Yeah,
shit. Because before we've always seen how effective he is and how
right.
convincing he manages to be.
Right.
And though we see that everyone else is supposedly convinced,
Yeah, I
it's
didn't
less
feel
so
it.
for us.
Right, I
Yeah.
didn't feel it this time. Like, even when he was, like, talking about, I think Flight 86 maybe, I can't remember the exact number, but when we know he's being completely insincere about it because he just basically
Yep.
helped crash that plane, he was still like moving. Oh, 37. Thank you, Alan. I'm terrible with numbers. That's why I'm an English major. Um, so yeah, so we as a viewer know he helped crash that flight, and then speaks about how under my watch this would never happen. But even as a
Right.
viewer knowing it happened, it's so effective and it's so good, and you just
Right.
like feel it
Yep.
from him. And this to me was just like, ugh,
Mhm.
it was awkward. I
I
don't
have
know
to
if
figure that's what it is.
yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know if it
Mhm.
was maybe because he was talking about someone else and like forgot he wasn't talking about himself, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but whatever it was, I mean, it worked, but yeah, it was very forced. But
Mhm.
the other thing I got a shock out of was Starlight has some pipes. She did great singing that song.
Yeah.
I didn't see that
Yep.
coming really. Um,
Yep.
so that was kind of cool. Cool to get that different talent from her.
What
And
do
then
you think of oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and then I know this is a small detail, but I thought it was kind of a cool thing for the writers. I hope to throw in um, that both I know that Homelander to me looks blonder this season. Like his hair looks like even
Mhm.
more blonde. And then I felt like Starlight's wig also like perfectly weirdly matched his hair. And there was just something like
Sure.
eerily like Stepford and we're blonde and American
Mhm.
about it. And like the way they were like fake getting along was just all like we are the pictures of perfection, but in reality, it's like these just like total piles who hate each other. So I don't know.
Yep.
I just thought that was like a cool detail.
That's what I was going to ask is about what do you think of their new relationship?
Yeah,
Uh,
total BS. They're
but
totally
I
working PR, but they're doing it
yep.
well. They're like in sync about it,
Yep.
which is creepier.
Yep. And I kind of I feel like Starlight's in a little more control this way.
Hmm.
As silly as that
Yep.
sounds, like she's like going along with this now and like playing an active role
Yep.
to get done what she needs to get done and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I don't know. I look at it like I've accepted what my role in this entails.
Hmm.
Um, but that's kind of interesting considering the character we're gonna meet after a little bit too.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah, I kind of felt like she was thinking like, yeah, I'm going to go along with all this because I don't have the energy to fight these like little battles anymore. I'm too focused on like,
mhm,
the things I have to do to like take Vought down in the larger scheme. So like whatever, I'm just going to
yep,
like roll with these costume changes for now and just like put my energy elsewhere.
yep. Um, how about Homelander's obsession with the milk and his like
God, it's
drinking?
so creepy. It's so creepy.
Uh,
I hate it. Yeah,
he's just sitting there like tongue in the
oh God,
ugh.
the second he walked into that office, I was like, this is gonna end badly. And I was so right. I was so right. Like, I didn't know what else he was gonna find in there and like what he was gonna do. And then he just like creepily drank that milk and it was
Mhm.
disgusting. Yeah.
Yep.
I have a
Yep.
feeling this is gonna like come up though. Not milk. But like
Yeah.
but his like weird obsession with Stillwell is just gonna sort of like be a weird shadow on this season.
Mhm.
And there's gonna be some other like ramifications and other things to show us how creepy Homelander is. Ugh.
So were you surprised by Ashley's appointment to
Oh
VP
yeah.
or whatever and then immediately like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's why." It's
Definitely.
like
Yeah, she walked on the screen and I was like, "Get out. Like you're
mhm,
back." And then Homelander was like, "Oh, I recommended you," and blah blah blah. And the second, she tried to actually do something, Homelander put her in her place, and I was like, "Yeah, for sure." Like we
mhm,
called it, in our wrap up, Homelander trying to take more control, and he doesn't
yeah.
want anybody else really like being his handler, like Madeline Stillwell was. So he's gonna try and like do things
Mhm,
himself. And he basically just like tried to use a puppet to do that, and that made total
yep.
sense to me.
Yep. Let's see. This point, the condition or situation of the boys, despite the title of the show, is actually I've cared the least about it of all the other things. But they are in a situation, and we see Huey and Annie are still kind of working together.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of weird thing now going on with like I don't know. It seems a little forced to me where they're like, who's going to lead us? You? And I was
Yeah.
like, well, what do you mean? Can't we just like come up with something
Yeah.
and like work on things? Why do you need like, and this continues now for, next episode too. It's like, why do you need like to assign an alpha or
Yeah.
something to like run this?
I agree.
Aren't you in this together?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
there's this like
don't
very
force it.
weird, there's this very weird like tension now, I feel like between Huey and Butcher that feels forced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get certain things about their relationship because, Huey's already kind of showing like I'm not 100% in with your methods. So I believe some of that like continuing into this season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is this weird like setup where it's like Huey is being set up to like lead the group, wants to lead the
Mm-hmm.
group sort of, but only because like they're pushing him, and then now like Butcher comes back and it's like, oh, now we have like tension, like don't take my group away from me. And
Yeah.
it's
It's
I
strange.
it's the least believable thing
Yeah.
about the episodes to me.
Yep.
Um because so I'm trying to find like the note that I wrote about this situation. Oh yeah. So when Milk is disparaging Huey and like who's going to lead us? You, like you don't have
Yeah.
anything. And it just felt like so extra and over the top for someone who like I mean, I know for us we've kind of like binge watched the series, so maybe it's just because it's so fresh in my mind. But like 2 episodes back in season 1 was like you came for us. Like you got us, you got in
Yeah.
here, you smuggled
Exactly.
in the wire, you're a brilliant man. And then like now suddenly he's like, "What can you do?" And
Yeah.
it just felt like a weird like regression. Like
Yep.
I don't feel like obviously Huey's got all the skills, but I mean, the putting down of his contribution to the group felt a little much because
He's
he's
contributed
done
just
some
as
good
much as the
things.
others.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
And
that felt a
it,
little
it
weird to me.
it's a little out of character for him as well.
Mhm.
Just because he has been one of the more understanding. Now, uh, of course, he's in a more serious situation now
Right,
with
he's
his
in a darker
family, so
place.
it's
I get
more
it.
like lashing out, I would say,
Yeah.
potentially it could be explained that way. But yeah, it's um I don't know. It's like they're trying too hard to find attention for this group that
Mhm.
we don't need.
Yeah.
It's like I'm thinking about my D&D campaign and some of the stuff. I'm like, I don't need to have some weird controversy or problem all the time,
Mhm.
in every situation. It's like sometimes the world just is, it just
Yep.
is there and like people
Yep.
getting along and whatever, so like don't put it where it doesn't need to be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I certainly understand that their circumstances are less than ideal. They're living in
Yep.
some sort of like weird sub basement, half drug operation, half possibly gang activity. Who
Yep.
knows? So obviously their situation is less than ideal. Their families are gone. They've been separated from them. And so I would get that there's tension there, but it could just be, I think, shown better just through more general lashing out than like
Yep.
picking on a specific thing and like setting it up to be a thing.
Yep.
So
Well, we'll see what happens there.
yeah.
Someone also not in a good situation, I guess, is the Deep. We talked
When
about him a
has
little
he been
bit
in a
with
good
his TMZ,
situation?
right? But now he's being wooed by a cult.
Yes, yes. A cult obsessed with
Um,
Fresca. What the
yeah,
crap?
what? I don't understand. It's
It's so
do you want a
weird.
Fresca? You want a Fresca? I mean,
Yeah,
no, I
they're
don't want a
pushing it
Fresca.
hard.
I guess they're like, we're trying to get him off the booze.
Mm-hmm.
And so what else? Look at all the flavor and the
Yeah.
bubbles from the
The
Fresca.
flavor of our Fresca, or try our drug tea, because that's good too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's,
Which,
what is
yeah,
it? What do they call it? It's like the something chain
it's the Church of the Collective.
Church of the Collective. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Mhm.
super creepy. And then he's got like an assigned therapist, and Eagle the Archer is his like partner slash coach, helping him back.
I
Not
mean,
getting the angle here, but it's gonna be weird.
well, and I recognize the cult stereotype kind of vibe pretty quickly. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
something about these people, but
Yeah.
that stereotype does exist for a reason. Like I'm watching that The Vow on HBO or
Right,
whatever,
right. Yeah.
about
Mhm.
Nexium or whatever, the cult, and it's fascinating. It's
Mhm.
fascinating. As an aside here, and so this made me think of that. But
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
yep.
we'll have to see how this keeps moving forward, but yeah, that's it's clearly going to be part of the Deep's redemption or faux redemption arc.
Mhm.
I don't know how genuine it's going to be with this like weird church cult behind him, but
Yeah.
it's clearly,
Yes.
his way out of, this cycle that we've been seeing him in, where he just like gets drunk and gets
Yep.
abused or gets violated, or another dream taken away or whatever. So yeah, so clearly
Yep.
this is going to be a thing going forward.
Yep. Um. So the chameleon.
The community. Oh yeah, Gecko.
So
Gecko.
is that what it is? Gecko. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
So great for potential serial killers. Great. Great
Super
gig there.
creepy. Like weird
Uh-huh.
sex fetish
Good idea.
something. Just chopping off his
Um.
limbs and they grow right back.
Yeah. That's resourceful, and
Yeah.
I don't want to live in a country where that's not legal. So that's good on him. But Starlight is cold to him, man.
Yes.
Mean. Wow.
Yes. I wrote, she graduated to blackmail so quickly, and she did it so much more smoothly than Huey ever did. Huey was just like
Mm,
a stuttering mess of like, I'm sort of putting this story together, sounding believable, bah.
yeah.
And she's just like, check me, like I know how to blackmail you. I know how to follow you, videotape you. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm not entirely sad at Starlight's loss of innocence in a sense here. Um, but I think it's going to be a lot of this season is her being a little bit colder, learning you have to do what you have to do, and sort of
Hmm.
unfortunately learning learning a lot of Maeve's truths the hard way. Kind of
Yep.
things that Maeve was very cynically trying to warn her about last season. I think she's going to find that they're truer than she would like to believe.
Yep.
And it starts right here with blackmailing Gecko.
Yep. Mhm. And we get to meet the newest member of the Seven,
We
Stormfront, in kind of a
yeah.
cool way. I
Yeah.
thought it was funny.
Very clever.
Hmm. You're live. Don't say
Yeah.
anything.
Exactly. Like a way
I
to
liked
introduce
that.
yourself where Homelander can't say
Yep.
shit. Like,
Yep.
smart move, girl.
Hmm. I'm a big fan of Stormfront so far. Like when she first showed up, I'm like, oh, who knows, whatever. But like just only being 2 episodes in, um, she has potential. I think she's cool. And again, how is she like? Maybe it's because Stillwell isn't there anymore. But
Mhm.
how are they getting away with this stuff? Before like just mouthing off on camera, or like kind of doing
Yeah.
their own thing.
Yeah. So
And we see, yeah.
yeah. I was just gonna say I had a note about that after the second episode, because we really do get introduced to Stormfront in the sense of, she's like, I just do what I want and I say what I want, and you don't have to play games, and
Yep.
I just am who I am, and F these people if you don't like it. And my question was like, I really like this character, But how is she in the 7 right now? Because I feel like she is the antithesis of everything Vought would want in a superhero.
Hmm.
Because she does
Yep.
just say things live in front of people that aren't like the perfectly scripted answers or like the perfectly, presented like I'm a superhero who loves
Yep.
America. So whereas they like would never have that problem with somebody like Black Noir because he doesn't seem to talk.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever, like, he can just be strong and silent and that's fine. Somebody who opens their mouth and says whatever would be a PR nightmare. So how
Right.
did Stormfront move up the ranks and how is she in the 7 right now? I'm
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble with that believability a little bit.
Yep. I hope that that's not just well, we want this kind of character in here, and so we're going to
Right.
put it in there. I hope there is a motive for
Yeah,
Mr. Edgar,
I agree.
because
I agree.
clearly Mr. Edgar like approved her or whatever.
Right.
Which I suppose we should talk about that confrontation as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really think of it, but I agree, because it's why would you hire that person that's going to be potentially off the rails or
Yeah.
not on brand or whatever? But that's the thing. Maybe that is the brand they're trying to make of her. I mean, so far we've seen, well, we just want, oh, we've never had 3 women in the 7, so girl power. But maybe they have a bigger plan as well
Right.
with her being, oh, we have wholesome here, and we have, you know, fly by the seat of your pants, say what you think
Mhm.
over here.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to delve into in the second episode with the 3 women. They do really get a lot of focus in the second episode, but we should definitely talk about like a couple of the big closing moments from episode 1 for sure. Um, I mean, not only did Homelander have like this his first confrontation with Mr. Edgar, um,
Hmm.
where he's kind of like going in and he's like nobody handles me, like I didn't get approval on
Right.
letting Stormfront into the group, and where's your respect, and I'm
Yeah.
Homelander, like I am Vought, and Mr. Edgar like really breaks it down. He's like, yeah, you're not this company, we're a pharmaceutical company, which I just found hilarious
Yep.
because he like really boils it down to like this like super simplistic format, saying like our product is not superheroes, our product is Compound V, so we're like a pharmaceutical lab, which is just the most ridiculous oversimplification of what that company is. But
Hmm.
in the end, I kind of thought it was like a weak comeback. Like, you're not, he was basically just like, you're not special. And Homelander caved. Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like there was more to say from Homelander. Like, I don't like him. And I don't, like that he is basically the face of Vought, but he's not wrong,
Yeah.
you know?
He he could have stood up for himself better,
Hmm.
for sure.
And he,
Because
no, yeah, you go first.
I mean, it's one thing like, yeah, sure, you're a it's kind of like if you had a class action lawsuit against Google. You get a
Hmm.
bunch of people together, they're upset about something.
Hmm.
And Google came to him and said, look, our product that you have a problem with, the Google Home, Nest
Hmm.
Google Mini or whatever, that's not really our business. Our
Hmm.
business is data.
Right.
Like, if you don't like that thing, that's really too bad, because we're all about buying and selling people's data, and it
Mhm.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So you can go eat, eat pound bricks. Um, but the other people could come back and say, well, yeah, but you're only getting that data. It's only worthwhile if we're here yet to provide it.
Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
still need us. And so Homelander, yeah, they're a pharmaceutical company, but they're enabled to do that because of the giant like uh presence they have on the culture. They're the
Exactly.
movie industry and whatever, and he represents that. And
Yeah.
yeah, you can fake it all, you can say it all you want, but him
Mhm.
leaving would be a giant blow. He could
Right.
leave and start another company and do whatever he wants with that,
Right.
and it's going to be like, so they don't make drugs. They sell the movies and stuff. Okay, so
Mhm.
your company's bigger, whatever, but
Mhm.
it's a hit.
Yeah.
You can pretend he's not an asset, but he is. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even if, they tried to replace him, it would take a few years. I mean, because not only do you need
yep,
somebody who has Homelander's level of power, like superpowers, but you need his like presence, his charisma, his,
yep,
like PR abilities. And I mean, right now, like he's basically crafted himself into like the image of America.
yep,
So you need someone also to like instill that sort of like patriotic pride or tap into some sort of similar facet,
yep,
that people can relate to and have pride in. So I mean, he really, as much as I hate it, because again, hate his character, he really is more valuable than Mr. Edgar is saying. And I really think Homelander could have like argued for his
yep,
importance a little bit better.
yep. I mean, he funds your pharmaceutical research.
Mhm.
The movies he's in,
Exactly.
the appearances he makes, like
Exactly.
that's how you make your money to do your work.
Exactly.
So, and it's gonna, I don't know if I wrote a note of it. Oh, eventually these heroes are just going to kill you all. Ha.
Yeah.
That's what my comment was, because like this snarky, know-it-all executive here, it's like, I mean, it's kind of like that thing where in Game of Thrones, um, I think it's Littlefinger is talking to Cersei Lannister,
Mhm.
and he's basically boasting about his power and
Mhm.
saying how his influence and his knowledge is power, and like, watch out. And then Cersei tells her guards to kill him, and
Mhm.
she's like, "Oh wait, don't kill him." And then maybe I'll, like, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Power is power." Okay,
Yeah.
because there's knowledge is power to a point,
Right.
and then also you need to put it to work. And
Right.
so this guy can hold all the strings, but when literally Homelander could snap his neck, and anyone that comes after him,
Right.
there the power is more equal than it's being presumed here. So,
Yes. Yeah. As we saw at the end of last season, where Homelander felt, like even the person he loved, and would have forgiven a lot from, he just felt pushed over the line by all of her
yeah,
lies, and eventually he was just like, "Cool, gonna burn your face off." Like,
yep,
that's how
yep,
that works. You
mm,
can only have the power for so long, and then
yep,
they just decide like, "Cool, I'm gonna use my abilities that you don't have and just kill you."
yep, mhm,
So,
yep. It's a fine balance. You can
yeah.
be someone really rich with a lot of power and influence, and
Mhm.
you push it too far, and someone decides, no, it's time to end that. It's enough.
Yep.
Um. Oh yeah, and then Rayner, poor
Ah!
Agent Rayner. I
Ah!
also did not see this coming,
No.
and I
I
I
was
don't
super pissed. I really liked her.
I know, and I don't like the way it happened. Really, like,
Yep.
I felt like she had more. I mean, they just replaced her.
Yes. I don't
She
like
just
it.
got replaced.
Yep.
And
I
I
don't yeah,
get that this,
I don't understand why we couldn't have had Rainer and Mallory at the same time. Like, it's so weird that we like weirdly had to trade.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm
exactly.
I'm annoyed at that piece of writing.
It's they could have served different purposes. So
Mhm.
you have the
Agreed.
internal contact, and then you have the person that's outside of it now,
Right.
that has like trained you and groomed you and all this stuff or whatever. So
Right.
they can help you in like potentially more unsavory things or off the books
Mhm.
things. And you still have the person that is within the system
Right.
trying to help you. There's
Right.
two fronts there.
Yep.
So, and so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, she was such a smart character. I really love that she didn't take any of Butcher's crap. She had
Mhm.
enough power and influence to like make things happen for the boys. She was an inroad for them, but not quite enough to just like magically do everything. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because
Yeah.
of course, like we think that she has Stillwell over a barrel last season, and then suddenly it's like, whoops, nope, they released super terrorists, now they've got
Yep.
us. So yeah, I mean, she had enough power to do things. She was an interesting character. She's obviously a smart character because she put the pieces together, which is what she was trying to convey
Yep.
literally seconds before her head was just blown up.
Yep.
So she was a smart character. And I get that, like, maybe you didn't want her to like have all the pieces and give all the answers, but there was just so many other options there that I'm really
Yep.
disappointed that they went this way.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree. Like I say, she
Mhm.
was smart. I liked that she was seemed like a good person and was
Mhm.
real like earnest.
Yeah.
She was someone that wasn't. She literally was um pushing for these guys, rooting
Mhm.
for them,
Mhm.
trying to do the best she could for them, or whatever. It was
Yeah.
nice to have that ally that wasn't gonna like, sugarcoat it or bullshit you.
Yep.
I just so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
because I don't like this other lady yet now. I forget her. I don't know her name
Mallory.
now. Mallory. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, maybe I'll change my mind, but at this point,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can see where uh, Butcher gets it.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that, it's hard because I liked Rainer better than Mallory, but I still don't see why I had to choose between the two and why the writers
Yeah.
basically like gave us one or the other. Um because yeah, I think they served completely different purposes, and Mallory is like an interesting glimpse into the past, into a lot of Butcher's issues, partly just for himself, but then also partially with his relationship between, like the group, between
Yep.
Mother's Milk and Frenchie, before Huey got there. So I feel like that's an interesting facet that's completely separate from Rainer.
Yep.
So yeah, I really wish she would have stuck around, but yeah.
And then we get
Oh,
the like with Huey.
oh my God.
Um,
Oh,
so
so
he's
annoyed.
talking with Annie
So
again,
annoyed.
and she's like, You guys have gotten a fresh start. I can't, and you're lucky that she's talking to you at all." And she's
Agreed.
like, "Don't lie to me," or whatever. And then he just clearly does. Like,
Hmm.
again, would he
Yeah,
do this? Would he do like, does this make sense? Has he not learned from his mistake?
yeah. I was
It's really
so,
frustrating.
yes, I was so annoyed with this because it doesn't feel like he's learned anything from last season, and I don't want to watch a repeat of his and
Yep.
Annie's relationship that way.
Yep.
Like, I get that he's scared. I mean, I don't literally get it, but like I theoretically get that he just watched someone get their head blown up for
Yep.
speaking. I get it. It's dangerous. And maybe you don't want to tell her over the phone because sure, that's risky. Like her calling him was like a risky move,
Yep.
but figure out a way to like communicate that, yes, but I will tell you at some point. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
even if now's
Not
not
now.
the time,
Like, right.
I will tell you. Don't just
Yep.
straight up lie.
And
Ugh.
she knows it.
She
You
totally knows it.
idiot. I mean,
Ugh.
and so
Yeah.
again, it was a little betraying too, where we saw the beginning with Homelander not being convincing like normal.
Yeah.
Huey was normally very convincing with his lies as well.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
spins them masterfully,
Yeah.
Um, and here it was very like pause. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
All right,
It was
Huey. Yeah.
terrible. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Did not love that ending.
yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else on this episode? Well, we kind of branched into episode 2 already, but
Right. Yeah, because yeah, obviously we already talked about, that this episode closes with Butcher returning. So
mhm,
we know that, Homelander didn't kill him when he took him to
yep.
go see Becca and his son. But yeah, we've already kind of covered that he's back this season. So that was episode one's big dramatic ending though.
Yep. My notes are quite short for episode 2.
Sure.
I noticed that Patton Oswald is probably spell his name wrong, but he is
Close
the
though.
voice of of the Deep's Gills
Okay, yeah.
Is when he's on when he's on his little trip.
And he's got that
Uh,
creepy little, drug tea, and he's talking to his gills and singing to his gills. God, that's so fucking weird.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, what stood out in this episode? We obviously in this we saw more from the boys as they were going after the imported super terrorists that they discovered now
mm-hmm.
and attempt to trade for
Mm-hmm.
like wiping their records clean.
Yep.
Um
Which
that's
I
like
mean,
the
I
gist of
know we're jumping like way ahead, but I just have to plant the seed because I was very confused about that. So Butcher comes back and tells them like, "Listen, I've got to deal with Mallory. We're going to get her the super terrorists that, came into our country,
yep,
and she's going to wipe your records clean so maybe you can go back to your families, stuff like that." That's the carrot. I mean, I don't think he says maybe you
yep,
can go back to your families, but with clean records, theoretically
yep,
they could. So it's
right.
the carrot that he dangles. But then at the end of the episode, after they've gone through all this shit, Butcher is like, "Hey, so the real deal is Becca's alive, and I need you to help me get back to her. And that's the deal I made with Mallory." And I
Yeah.
don't know if he's referring to himself or if he totally just like effed the guys over and is like, "This is my real deal."
I think so. That's what it came off to me.
Okay, that's what I thought
And
too. And I was like really annoyed with Butcher for that.
yeah, I
Like,
mean, it's yeah.
I
We
just was
get the
like,
group.
how could you do it? Like, you were so selfish last season when you turned
I
down that
know.
whole deal from the
Yeah.
CIA just because you couldn't get Homelander and basically like screwed everybody else over. And now you're like doing it again. I feel like this season has some really like promising starting points, but also some of the same hangups. Like we're seeing
Mhm.
some of the same repeats of character traits that I really was hoping characters would grow out of.
Right. And we see some of that in like in Frenchie. I feel like Frenchie is like, I mean, Kimiko has kind of
Mhm.
like mellowed him,
Mhm.
and we see they say, she's one of us.
Mhm.
When they have that confrontation in the store and stuff, is like, we're not gonna, turn her in or her
Right.
brother or whatever and stuff
Right.
because she's one of us. And so that is a growth element. But whereas just a little bit ago, Mother's Milk is picking on Huey,
Mhm.
because I don't know, they should just sit there and or run or whatever. It's like, well, one is, how is that going to get you back to your daughter and
Right.
wife?
Right.
And then Butcher shows up and you're ready to like, oh, okay, we'll do this risky thing. We'll do it now, whatever, because Butcher is here and he's made this deal. But then we find out he's lying again.
Mhm.
How do you? I mean, I can see Huey's anger
Yeah.
and like, just get out of here. You just literally come here to use us.
Yep.
And I mean, we already had that, like you say, in season one. You can't persist with this.
Yes.
Otherwise we lose all sympathy for Butcher and we
Right.
just literally don't care what happens to him. Just get
Right.
out. You don't
Right.
deserve to be with this your
Wife,
ex-wife and
yeah.
kid anyways.
Mhm.
Because you're a terrible person.
Right.
So like why have they not built the rapport to this point where Billy can come back and say, I made this deal that I
Mhm.
can get my kid and my wife back or know the location of her anyways,
Mhm.
if you help me. Will you please help me?
Right.
you know
Right.
why and then work something out that way. It's like,
Right.
well, we'll help you do this, but like we need, you got to help us get
Exactly.
out of the
Exactly.
situation too.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you're just
and I
trying to.
mean, yeah, I mean, I get that it wouldn't be like the first thing he would say, but like at some point that has to be like you said, like that has to be the thing that you tell them. Like they've just gone through losing their families. They understand like your motivation for like, "Oh my God, you found yours. You possibly have a chance to get back." Like they may not help you, but they also might just because they understand that loss now. Especially I think Mother's Milk would understand. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, he would be like, "Yeah, I mean, you obviously wanna get back to your wife and you know, and live your life with her. So, you know,
Yep.
help me, help you, help me.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Right.
I don't
Thought
know.
we were in this together. You act like we're in together, and then we're not.
Right.
And then it made me really mad when Butcher at the end
Yeah.
punches Huey and said, "If you
Yeah.
ever get in between me and my wife again, I'll kill you."
Right.
Firstly, you didn't
Huey doesn't
expose
know.
this deal. Yeah, he had no idea that you actually lied to the group
Right.
about what you were going to get in return. So how
Right.
that had anything to do with so that's I was really really hoping Huey would just go and open the passenger side door and start wailing on him.
Yes.
Just it's
Or just be
it's
like, fuck off.
we're leading to a time where Huey has got to like hit Butcher,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's not going to beat him up, but like give it to him. And I think that honestly, Butcher will probably respect him more for it anyways.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I just that made me really mad.
I
It's like
agree.
you just yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we get something else of that, because otherwise he's just been like pushed into being docile,
Yeah.
again in the next thing. Next
Right.
episode.
Yeah. I agree. I think, if we just kind of let this stand and nobody addresses it, like Butcher's just being pushed further into being like a selfish asshole. Huey's just docile, and I don't like this group dynamic. I'm gonna
No.
get quickly annoyed with this group dynamic.
Yep.
So
Yep. Ooh,
yeah.
okay. All
So
right.
I know we like kind of skipped like to the main part of this episode. Obviously, other
Mhm.
things happened that
Yep.
led up to this, big confrontation of two of our boys. But
Yep.
yeah, we start off with finally getting a glimpse of Becca and Ryan, who we learn is Homelander's son's name. I don't think he was called anything prior to that, so I felt like I learned that in this episode. But yeah, they're just like playing catch in the yard, like a super creepy,
Mhm.
normal nuclear family. Very weird. And Homelander continues to push the daddy thing hard in the
Yep.
beginning of this episode. Like, we're gonna play catch. I'm gonna teach you things. I'm gonna tuck you into bed. Let me, impart a little like life wisdom to you about how we're gods. Cool. Tuck you in. Night night. Like,
Yep.
so weird. So weird
Mhm.
and creepy. This is obviously not going to go well, because I don't feel like Homelander sees this kid as his son. I feel like he sees him um dually as one, a tool, and two, as like some sort of weird legacy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
this is the foundation of my legacy, and I'm going to, you're going to be the next me if there ever needs to be a next me. And you're just going to be like, you know what I mean? Like the way he's like trying to push his powers and like things that he can do. I just feel like he wants to build some sort of like weird Homelander dynasty kind of thing rather than be a family.
I definitely I still think that I mean at this point yet anyways, I'm putting my money on that he really does see him as a son,
Mm.
and that he is um it's just because he didn't have a father of his own that
Has
he's
no idea
really
how to
pushing.
act.
Yeah, and he's really pushing to like try to have that, like
Yeah.
understand that relationship and how that can be and should be and stuff.
Mm.
And I think the danger is going to be, of course, he'll try to like, I mean, as often with dysfunctional relationships, like one parent's talking bad about the other parent kind of thing or
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have conflict there when he's trying
Hmm.
to basically turn his son against his mother,
Hmm.
and vice versa, potentially. So,
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got hints of that when he was like, "Oh, he's threatening Becca, like, should I walk in there and tell him about,
yeah.
how you've kept him in a prison and things like that." So,
Hmm.
yeah, I that's definitely going to come out one way or another. He's definitely going to use that. But I also think there's going to be tension and friction because he did seem so interested in developing Ryan's powers, that he's going to try to push him to do that, and it's maybe going to be too much too soon at one point. Like he's going to injure him somehow
Yeah.
because he thinks, like he was saying, like, I was able to break the sound barrier when I was his age,
Yeah.
what is he doing? So I feel like he's going to try to push him to do something that he's not quite ready for. And there's going to be some tension there
Yeah.
too.
I mean, he's quite meek. I could see
Yeah.
that. I could see him not living up to his standards. That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking. Maybe it would go to me is like,
absolutely.
what? Yeah, how are you, my son? Like, what is
Hmm.
what's wrong with you? Like, kind of thing.
Right. And that's
Um,
where I think he's going to like try to push him to be bolder, use his powers, do
yeah.
something, and it's going to like not work. And he's going to get
Hmm.
frustrated about it because he's like,
Yeah.
you're not my son. You're not doing all these cool things I can do. You're
Yeah.
not, you
Then
know.
he'll lash out, and then, oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So I mean, we'll see. Like that's done a lot. So
Yep.
if it's not that dynamic, I'd be okay with it. But
Right. Can definitely see it playing out that way though.
yeah. Um, what else we got? Oh, I just loved the press junket, the press tour, the
Yeah.
publicity tour. And
Yeah.
again, I was liking Stormfront. Now
Mhm.
it's in my mind that, how did she get there? What's the agenda
Mhm.
there? Like why? Because clearly Ashley's not okay with
Yeah.
her mouthing off or saying what she
Right.
thinks. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's part of like what's true. What I loved about season one is all the things that in corporate life or in the entertainment
Mhm.
industry that like ring true or whatever. And so this
Yes.
was one of those little pieces.
Yes. Yeah. That was pretty fun. I loved watching, of course, like Annie tape, like check out us live on WKRX, KMST.
Yeah, over
That
and
was
over.
yeah.
Mhm.
Just like, let's just do this. Like I want to get out of here. So that also felt like very real, mundane. Um,
Mhm.
what didn't feel real to me and was super creepy about that press junket was A Train just like showing up there.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it was just like a weird vibe. Like, why set Annie up to be like, he's such a brave soldier fighting blah blah
And the
blah.
press would do that,
Right.
you know?
It was weird. It was a awkward surprise and an awkward way to get them to like meet in public.
Yeah.
You know?
Because what would happen would be Ashley would be behind the scenes before they go live saying,
Right.
hey, you're gonna let everybody know the A Train's been on a secret mission and well, he's actually here. So we're gonna have him come out, whatever,
Right.
and surprise the media, the
Right,
press.
exactly. They wouldn't be
So
surprising Starlight. Like that
right.
felt
They'd be
very weird to
surprising
me.
her right before you go out on
Oh,
you go out there.
exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that felt very weird. I mean, I like that they didn't keep A Train in a coma for too long because that could have just
Yeah.
been like, oh,
Too
a way
convenient.
to yeah, too convenient to
Mhm.
keep him there or whatever. I mean, obviously he had to recover from AFib and all that compound V. But yeah, now he's like back up and at him and we're getting this like tension that he's like sniffing around Starlight and trying to figure out what she's up to. So that
Mhm.
after that awkward reunion, I really liked the way he came back. But yeah, that was just too weird.
Yep. Yep. Um. Yeah. So okay, we can keep going with that, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. A Train snooping around. Annie
Mhm.
gets her compound V and some
Mhm.
close calls, and you see. Do you like the way it broke down between Annie and A Train, kind of going back and forth on the blackmail potential? You know.
Yeah, I like the way it ended up. I didn't particularly love like the opening, like where Annie's trying to figure out what he's up to and he's just like laying it all out there like I know everything, you're helping your boyfriend, like all this crap and she just sort of like takes it. Cuz
Mhm.
I was all ready for her to be like, "Cool, I know you killed Popclaw, so yay." And she eventually did that, and she did it in a great way that was like, sure, Vought might cover it up now when like nobody knows about it, but I went through all, like the autopsy reports. I went through the footage. I went through, every record we have. So I know where, when, how, and if I sold that to like Sports Illustrated, it'd be out of Vought's hands, and they can't cover that up anymore. So she was thorough, and I think it was another example of Starlight's evolution into this, like, colder, harder version of herself that gets what she needs to get done.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I was kind of like expecting it or hoping for it sooner. So
Sure.
at least they got there, I guess, is my
Yep.
point.
Yep. So what are we thinking of Becca now at this point with her? Because I guess going back to that a little bit, but she
Sure.
dropped her kid off, and then rushed over to like this facility to try to like, hey, you got to get rid of Homelander. And they're
Yep.
like, no, that's can't happen. Genie's out, toothpaste is out of the tube.
Oh God.
Um,
Such a weak
and
analogy. um,
so I mean, she is clearly not happy with Homelander being there. She's tried
God
to
no.
like hide her son and stuff.
Hmm.
Is she scared of Homelander? Does this give more
Yes.
credibility towards it being a rape? Is it more like I just know the machine and the garbage is all of this now, and like
Hmm.
what I've had to go through because of this?
Yeah.
You could imagine like, oh, you sleep with someone, you get pregnant, and then you're not thinking,
Hmm.
oh, well, means now I'm rushed to a secret facility someplace, and I'm demanded if I want to keep this child, it's going to be a secret forever, and
Right.
you're gonna, all this stuff. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It's just still a big mystery to me how that's what their relationship was,
Hmm.
what her relationship is with Butcher. It'd
Yeah.
be interesting
Hmm.
to see, like, you could see
How do
from
they
Butcher's
relate to each other
perspective.
now? Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, I
Hmm.
cut you off. What from Butcher's perspective?
Well, just I mean, we all it's all been his perspective again, and he's a
Right.
big liar.
Yeah.
So lying to himself probably as well, and to the audience. But what was the? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw all of a sudden the relationship from Becca's perspective wasn't
Hmm.
so rosy.
Yeah.
We've seen the memories of Butcher and how he sees it and what the trauma did and stuff. And you can imagine, even if you had kind of a rough relationship and then
Hmm.
your spouse was raped and murdered or something like that, that you would remember all the good things.
You would
You know,
romanticize it. Hmm.
yes.
Yep.
It's kind of like any celebrity or whatever. They were caught doing coke and hitting their wife the other week, but then they die and they're the most amazing, beautiful
Hmm.
soul
Hmm.
ever.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I'm just still interested in that relationship, what it is, and getting more answers.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we'll continue to get them, since Homelander, expressly says, like, "I'm not gonna lose interest. You're right." Like,
Right.
the whoever, has set up this compound from Vought is like, "Ah, he's gonna lose interest, whatever, like, stick it out," which is the lamest response ever.
Yeah.
Um, but she's like, "No, he's not gonna lose interest. Like, I feel this, like, this is gonna be a thing now." And I think she's right. Um, and I think that, unless like we were talking about before, his son turns out to be like a huge disappointment, and then
Yeah.
maybe. Um, but for now, I think we're gonna get more and more like reveals and glimpses into, the relationship, whatever it was, however long, involved, intimate, not,
Yep.
that Becca and Homelander's relationship was. We'll get some peeks into that now that he's gonna be back. Um,
Yep.
I mean, she's definitely afraid of him, if that's, a result of him assaulting her, or if it's just a result of, seeing the things that he's capable of. Or both. I don't know.
Yep.
Um, she clearly, whatever her relationship is with Butcher, she clearly cares enough for him to save him. Because that's part of the deal that she works out, of course, with Homelander, that, you can come here and see Ryan, and I'm going to give you some time or whatever, but you have to like save, um, Butcher, not kill him at least.
Oh, I missed that.
It's like a throwaway line that I just sort
Okay.
of like caught the tail end of, about,
Hmm.
him dropping Butcher
That would
off in a
make
parking
sense.
lot. Because I was wondering, like, what the hell? Like, why isn't Butcher
Yeah.
dead? And there's just like this like half throwaway line that Homelander says about, this is what happens when I agreed to that thing for you. And um, so, yeah. So she clearly cares enough for Butcher to save his life, whether that's because, she still has feelings for Butcher, or she's just a good person that would be like, well, whatever I
Yeah.
can do to save
Yep.
a life, I'll do it. So yeah, that's really interesting. And of course I think, Butcher is going to find his way back to whatever compound that they're in. Um,
Yep.
Whether or not they stay there, I think that's an interesting question, because cat's out of the bag now. Like, why wouldn't
Yep.
you, take Ryan and move him to a city or a different town or a whatever? Like, what is the compound doing for you now?
Well, it's still not public information. She may be prohibited
True,
to let
true.
others know that this is Homelander's kid.
Right. But it would take away some of
Mhm.
Homelander's threats of,
Yep.
like, why keep him locked up here? Why not,
Yep.
take him to a Burger King, or, take him to a baseball
Yep.
game or something. So, yeah. So
Well,
that whole evolving relationship, I think, is going to be a good plot line. I'm excited for that this season.
mhm. If Homelander wanted to teach his son a little bit about being, like he wanted to be fatherly, instead of just going right to we're gods, he could have taught him how to throw a baseball.
Right?
And I mean, like, start there.
Start small,
Like,
Homelander.
yeah, you got to get your elbow up, like,
Right?
just
Yeah.
don't push the ball at me. Okay.
Step
Like,
into your
it's,
throw. Yeah.
yeah, let's get it. It's baby steps.
Oh man. Yeah, no, Homelander doesn't know baby steps. Homelander
No.
knows, stride or continent crossing strides, not baby steps.
Yeah. I guess so, but he's shown to be intelligent. We've seen
Yeah.
that in the last season, how he really, he went and it was his plan to give all these terrorist groups V, and,
Yeah.
like, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
he is smart. He just doesn't always
Hmm.
use those smarts in the best way. He kind of
Yep.
sometimes he goes, for the hammer when,
Yep.
he could be using like a gentler touch here.
Yep. Yeah. Just like always laser eyes cut through
Yeah.
everything, like the plane controls.
Yes. Sometimes subtlety works too.
Especially when you can see that he can control it to just like melt someone's face, basically,
Right,
or
exactly.
warm up a milk bottle.
Oh
It
god,
doesn't
so
have to be just like
weird.
through everything.
Oh, I'd almost forgotten about the milk incident. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Mhm. Well, we should talk quickly yet too about
Mhm.
like Kimiko and her
Yes.
brother and that situation and stuff. We kind of
Yeah.
talked a little bit about it, but her soup terrorist brother. What do we
Yes.
think is going to happen here?
Major
What
plot
should
point.
happen here? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I really am glad that we got this like super terrorist who turns out to be, somebody of related, somebody we can care
Yep.
about, because, of course Kimiko has talked about like her time in the Shining Light Liberation Army,
Mhm.
and her love for her brother. So this is a very interesting and great choice, I think, by the writers. Um, I like that they, have this chance to bond and reconnect before they jump into, holy crap, we now realize like we're on opposite sides of an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was great. Um and I feel like they're both set up sympathetically enough.
Okay.
Um Whereas I feel like we're already like all in with sympathy for Kimiko. Like, we've been introduced to her, we care about her. She's on this journey of like, I escaped out of a horrible cage in a basement to, try and become a human being. Um, Whereas, we're just being introduced to her brother now. But I felt like his if you sort of pause the fact that he's on the other side of, our characters for now, you understand where he's coming from with the story he tells about, why he's come to America and wants to get revenge on Homelander, because Homelander landed in their village, um, you know wreaked havoc, cut people in half, killed people, destroyed them. He's talking about buildings collapsing on nurseries full of children. Like,
Hmm.
I can understand as someone watching just that absolute destruction and devastation, like your motivation is now revenge on that person who did it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And
Like that's
yeah.
a sympathetic motive, even though I don't agree about the way he's going about it right now.
And with how associated that individual is now with the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Like before it's like, okay, it would be revenge on this individual,
Right.
but they've now with through Congress and stuff brought the superheroes in and they're saying, yep, we're on board and this
Right.
is they're working for us kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, you're associating with bad people now. So
Right.
I mean, what I didn't like, I guess, is or was a little surprised by was okay. So this big emotional reunion.
Hmm.
Their brother and sister are together again. Um, but it devolves quickly, and like you say, like it
Yeah.
on two different sides of an issue. So it's like, hey, we should go protest this issue this weekend. No, I don't think we should. Oh yeah, and then I'm gonna throw you through a wall.
Boom.
Like just
Yeah.
like like how
Yeah.
about we just like shelve it for a minute? We can go get some coffee and like talk about some other things and like
Right.
we still love each other, right? So we just but no, let's duke it out,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah. It got
geez.
physical a little too quickly.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
you're gripping my wrist kind of hard. Oh yeah.
right.
Shove you into a car,
Right.
Man,
Yeah.
volatile.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed in that. I'm glad that their powers seem to at least kind of be on an equal level so that they can have these like fights where it's not totally just one bashing the other one. I was a little worried about Kimiko, to be honest, but she came back and gave as good as she got. Um, so I was glad to see that they're sort of on equal levels that way. So that way I think we can continue to have, if this does continue to be a physical fight between them, we can have these like really intense moments between the two.
Yeah, it'll depend on the extent of his powers and stuff, and like
Mhm.
how. I mean, they tied his hands up, seeming to imply that maybe he needs his hands
Yeah, to like make that
like
kinetic
that.
energy, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Hmm.
So if that's the case, then maybe. But otherwise, like I mean, telekinesis is always like the most ridiculous thing because you could just like feel basically inside someone and just crush their heart
Yep.
or just like you just break their neck from where however far away
Right.
now of
Right.
course Kimiko can heal. She's a
Right.
Wolverine, which is awesome,
Yep.
but there's usually limits to that as well, so.
Right. Right. Yeah, we'll see if we find out some of hers.
And but I thought then, well, okay, so maybe he's not going for the kill, but then at the same time, it's like, well, do you know the extent of her powers, or did you
Right.
just throw her through a fourth level brick wall, thinking
Right.
she's gonna die? I
Right.
mean, like,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, I feel like Kimiko's brother is her, kind of flip side, her mirror side, the opposite side to her coin. And he's a little farther yet back on the emotional spectrum. I mean, Kimiko has found
mhm,
friends now. She's,
yep,
seen kindness and seen sacrifice and willingness to rescue her. Frenchie obviously tries to save her in the motel and tell her to get out and stuff like that. So she's experienced that like human compassion
yep,
that clearly is missing from the Shining Light Liberation Army.
yep,
So they'll be an interesting foil to each other as perhaps Kimiko tries to like get him along the same journey, even if his objectives don't change. Perhaps he can.
yeah. But what's gonna happen now?
I
They're gonna
know.
turn him into
Are
a
they though?
former government agent. Well, don't get in between me and Becca again.
I
Like
know, but he says that to Huey, but he doesn't say that to Kimiko.
I know.
So
Well,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't know if she really understands what the plan is because Butcher really didn't reveal it to her. He revealed it to the other two 'cause she was gone at that point.
yeah. Well, and there was I think I saw there was a look where she was like standing over him and like she just glared at Butcher.
Yeah.
And so
So I don't know
want
that
to try
she's
hitting me
totally
like
on
that?
board. Yeah, I don't know that she's totally on board with Butcher just
Yeah.
like dragging him to Mallory. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, I think that's probably what we got here for
Yeah.
The Boys season 2, episodes 1 and 2. Um I enjoyed them, but going through it certainly see some flaws. I
Yeah.
hope that the season I hope they've planned it out well
Mhm.
and don't want to just like make things happen to make things happen.
Mhm.
And they I think I underestimated the first season, so they have high standards to live up to. I
Agreed.
mean, like
Agreed.
they met those expectations and exceeded them. So
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, there were some very strong points to the starting of this season and some very interesting places to go. Like I don't feel it's totally repetitive, but there are some elements that I just if they only appear in the first two episodes, like Huey's lying to Annie, or Butcher's kind of like selfish motives, if
Yep.
they only appear early on and we do finally move past them, great. Like I won't have a problem with that, but I just don't want it to be the same
Yep.
patterns. So
Yep.
interested to see if the rest of the season lives up to this.
Right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us
Hmm.
on this Wednesday evening. We will be back this weekend with
Hmm.
another full episode. And in the meantime, you should go back and listen to our other episodes.
Hmm.
We're on YouTube, podcast services all over the place. Um, like us here or follow us here on Twitch and like us and follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, all that stuff. Take a look at our website. Thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song. You can check them out on Instagram and Spotify. My brother-in-law and I play video games often on Twitch. That's under Lucas333. That's Lucas with a K. Usually normally Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But his schedule's getting a little mixed up, so we'll see. But there's that. Anything you want to plug, Sasha,
Nah.
tonight?
I think you covered it. The only thing I have to decide now is what accessory am I going to use to convey my Sasha-ness. So
That's
maybe I'll
right.
throw out a Twitter poll, see what it should be. So
There you go.
so follow us on Twitter if you have an opinion, weigh in.
Yep. Who doesn't have an opinion
That's
on
right.
everything? Come on now.
Twitter is the place for opinions.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us and have a
Mhm.
good night.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.